Peppa and George were enjoying a delightful game of hide-and-seek in their favorite woods. The sun dappled through the leaves, and the air was filled with the cheerful sounds of nature. Peppa, with a joyful giggle, began to count. George, ever the clever one, found a perfect hiding spot behind a grand old tree. As he peered out, he thought he saw a fleeting frown etched into the tree's bark. A small shiver ran down his spine, but he quickly dismissed it. Peppa finished her count and began her search, her eyes scanning the familiar trees. But the cheerful forest sounds seemed to warp, and a faint, almost inaudible whisper seemed to drift on the breeze, following her every step. Peppa approached a patch of tall, swaying grass, and to her surprise, it parted unnaturally, revealing a patch of unsettling darkness beneath. She hesitated, a prickle of unease, and walked around it. George, still hidden, also heard the insidious whispers. He tried to call out to Peppa, but his voice caught in his throat, emerging as a strained, fearful croak. His eyes widened with growing fear. Peppa's gaze fell upon a vibrant flower, and she watched in disbelief as its petals slowly wilted and turned black, only to instantly regain their vibrant color. She blinked, utterly confused. The sun, peeking through the trees, briefly transformed into a sickly green hue, then reverted to its cheerful yellow. The whispers intensified, becoming more distinct, yet still just beyond comprehension. Peppa finally found George, and a wave of relief washed over them both. But the whispers were now undeniably clear, surrounding them, seeming to emanate from every direction. The trees around them began to sway violently, despite the complete absence of wind. Black, brittle leaves rained down, crunching ominously underfoot. The ground beneath their feet became soft and spongy, as if they were treading upon something alive and breathing. They tried to quicken their pace, a growing panic in their hearts. The whispers coalesced into a low, guttural chanting, a chilling chorus that echoed through the woods. The trees seemed to lean in, their branches intertwining to form a dark, foreboding tunnel. A shadowy, elongated figure, with eyes that glowed a malevolent red, flickered into view between the trees, then vanished as quickly as it appeared. Peppa and George gasped, their hearts pounding. The chanting grew deafening, and the very ground beneath them began to pulse with a faint, crimson glow. Small, dark tendrils snaked out from the earth, reaching for their feet. Peppa and George struggled to run, but the dark tendrils wrapped around their ankles, pulling at them, slowing their desperate escape. They cried out, their voices filled with terror. The shadowy figure reappeared, closer now, its form more defined, yet still shrouded in an unsettling indistinctness. A chilling sense of dread washed over them as they perceived a faint, sinister smile. The chanting reached a terrifying crescendo, a cacophony of unseen voices. The trees around them had transformed, their bark now completely black, their branches twisted into menacing claws. The shadowy figure extended a hand, and the tendrils tightened their grip, pulling Peppa and George inexorably towards it. They screamed, but no sound escaped their lips, as if their voices had been stolen. A terrifying close-up on the figure's face revealed eyes that glowed with an intense, malevolent light. Its smile widened, revealing rows upon rows of sharp, unsettling teeth, a horrifying parody of their familiar cartoon style. Peppa and George were pulled into the inky blackness behind the figure. Their forms blurred, then vanished completely, swallowed by the encroaching shadows. It was a gloomy morning in Peppa Pig's world. A strange chill hung in the air. Peppa and George were playing when Mummy Pig noticed something peculiar at the front door. Mummy Pig, "Oh, what's this, children? A letter? But it's so dark." Peppa Pig, "Ooh, a new game. Mummy?" The card was unlike any they had seen before. Daddy Pig, ever the optimist, thought it might be an invitation to a new, exciting playgroup. Daddy Pig, "Perhaps it's a treasure hunt." Mummy Pig, "I have a bad feeling about this, Daddy Pig." Despite Mummy Pig's reservations, Daddy Pig called the number. Soon, a dark, windowless bus arrived. Many of their friends were already inside, looking a little bewildered. Susie Sheep. Peppa, where are we going? Peppa Pig. I don't know, Susie. It's a surprise. The bus journey was long and silent. When they finally arrived, they were led into a vast, impersonal dormitory. The air was thick with an unspoken tension. George, dinosaur? Daddy Pig. Don't worry, George. It's just a very big sleepover. The next morning, they were led to a massive outdoor arena. A giant, unsettling doll stood at one end. This was the first game, red light, green light. The rules were simple. Move on green light, freeze on red light. Those who moved on red light were eliminated. Peppa Pig. This isn't like hide and seek. Is it, Mummy? The doll's head spun around, its eyes glowing an ominous red. Red light, it boomed. A few unsuspecting players, still moving, stumbled and fell. They were quickly escorted away by masked figures, their fate unknown. The remaining players understood the gravity of the situation. Danny Dog, I don't like this game. The next game was the sugar honeycombs. Each player was given a delicate, brittle honeycomb shape. The task was to perfectly cut out the shape without breaking it. The pressure was immense. Rebecca Rabbit, mine's an umbrella. This is too hard. Mummy Pig, be very, very careful, darling. Peppa, with a shaky hand, began to meticulously trace her circle. The silence in the room was deafening, broken only by the occasional snap of a breaking honeycomb. The masked figures watched, their presence a constant, unnerving reminder of the stakes. Peppa Pig, almost. The third game was a terrifying tug-of-war. Two teams, suspended high above the ground, pulled with all their might. The losing team would face a perilous drop. Daddy Pig, with his usual bravado, tried to rally the team. Daddy Pig, pull, everyone, pull, for the glory of Peppa Pig. George, oink, oink. The rope stretched, groaning under the immense strain. Peppa and her family, along with their friends, pulled with every ounce of their strength. The masked figures on the opposing team seemed impossibly strong, their movements precise and unyielding. The platform swayed precariously. Mummy Pig, we can do this. Together. The next challenge was the glass bridge. Players had to choose between tempered and untempered glass panels. One wrong step meant a terrifying fall into the darkness below. The tension was palpable as they approached the treacherous path. Peppa Pig. Which one, Daddy? Daddy Pig. I don't know, Peppa. With a deep breath, Peppa took a leap of faith onto a panel. A faint crack echoed through the air, but it held. The relief was short-lived as the next choice loomed. Each step was a gamble, each decision fraught with peril. Mummy Pig. Oh, my brave little Peppa. Finally, they reached the last game, the Squid Game. A familiar playground, but twisted into something sinister. Peppa and her family, weary but determined, stood ready to face their final opponents, the masked figures themselves. Peppa Pig. We can do this, family. Daddy Pig. For home and muddy puddles. The air crackled with tension. It was a battle of wits and agility. Peppa, usually so innocent, found a newfound determination in her eyes. The masked figure, unreadable behind its disguise, stood motionless, waiting for the signal. Mummy Pig, please be safe, my little ones. The game began. Peppa, surprisingly nimble, darted across the court, trying to outmaneuver the masked figures. George, from the sidelines, squealed with a mix of fear and excitement, cheering on his sister. George, go, Peppa, go! A masked figure lunged, but Peppa, with a quick dodge, narrowly avoided its grasp. Her heart pounded in her chest. This was no ordinary game of tag. The stakes were too high, the consequences too dire. One misty evening, Peppa and her family decided to take a walk through the mysterious woods behind their house. But these woods held secrets that no one expected. Excitedly, oh, what a lovely evening for a walk. I wonder what adventures we'll find in these woods. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the trees seemed to whisper secrets in a language only the wind could understand. Nervously, Peppa, the trees are making funny noises. Dinosaur doesn't like it here. Reassuringly, don't worry, George. It's just the wind playing tricks. Trees can't really talk. Can they? But as they walked further, they began to notice that the path they had taken seemed to have disappeared completely. Puzzled, I say, this is rather odd. I'm quite sure we came from that direction, or was it that one? Calmly, don't worry, everyone. We just need to stay together and think logically about this. Suddenly, they heard a gentle humming coming from somewhere deep within the woods. It was beautiful, but strangely hypnotic. Mesmerized, what a lovely song. It sounds like someone singing a lullaby. Should we follow it? The humming led them to a clearing where an ancient stone circle stood, covered in glowing moss that pulsed gently with the rhythm of the song. Amazed, wow, the stones are glowing. Are they magic stones, Peppa? Thoughtfully, I think they might be, George, but they don't seem scary. They seem friendly. As Peppa touched the stone, the humming grew louder, and suddenly they could understand what the voices were saying. Kindly welcome, little visitors. We are the guardians of this ancient place. We've been waiting so long for someone to find us. Delighted. Oh my, you're real forest spirits. Are you the ones who've been singing that beautiful song? Warmly, yes, dear child. We sing to keep the magic of the forest alive. But we've been lonely for so very long. The spirits explained that they had been the guardians of the forest for hundreds of years, protecting all the woodland creatures. Understanding. How wonderful! You've been taking care of all the forest animals all this time. Impressed. This is absolutely fascinating. I had no idea such magic existed right behind our house. Hopefully, would you like to help us sing our song? It grows stronger when more voices join in harmony. And so, Peppa's family learned the ancient song of the forest, their voices blending with the spirits in perfect harmony. Joyfully, this is the most magical thing that's ever happened to us. Can we come back and visit you again? Gratefully, of course, dear friends. Now that you know our song, you'll always be able to find your way back to us. The spirits guided them safely home, and from that night on, the family would often return to sing with their new magical friends. Contentedly, I love our magical forest friends. Who knew that the most mysterious places could hold the most wonderful surprises? And so, what began as a mysterious adventure in the Whispering Woods became the start of a beautiful friendship that would last forever. The forest spirits, with their gentle glow, explained more about their ancient home and the magic that sustained it, explaining every tree, every leaf, every drop of dew in this forest holds a piece of our song. It is the lifeblood of this place. Curious, so if we sing with you, does it make the forest even more magical? Nodding, indeed, little one. Your joy and your voices add new notes to our ancient melody, making it stronger and brighter. And so, the Peppa family spent the rest of the evening learning about the wonders of the Whispering Woods, their hearts filled with a new kind of magic. Happily, this was the best adventure ever. I can't wait to tell all my friends about the singing trees and the glowing stones. And as the sun began to rise, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Peppa and her family knew that their lives had been touched by something truly extraordinary. On a sunny day, Peppa Pig and her friends were playing in the park. But today, an unusual game awaited them. A very unusual game indeed. How fun! I love playing with friends. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and from beneath the earth emerged a huge, terrifying playground. Instead of swings and slides, there were strange geometric shapes and a giant doll. What is that? A mysterious voice echoed from nowhere, inviting them to participate in a game. A voice that promised incredible fun and prizes. Welcome, little friends. Would you like to play? The winner gets everything they wish for. A game? I love games. What are the rules? The first game was red light, green light. But the doll watching them looked very sinister. When I sing, you can move. But when I stop, you must freeze. Anyone who moves is eliminated. The children began to play, but fear paralyzed their movements. The doll turned its head, and its eyes seemed to watch everyone. Emily Elephant accidentally moved. The doll immediately noticed. Emily didn't disappear, but her eyes became empty, and she mindlessly wandered toward the exit. I lost. What happened to her? This isn't fun. The next game was Sugar Honeycombs. Each child received a candy with a carved shape. They had to cut out the shape with a needle without breaking it. You have 10 minutes. If your shape breaks, you lose. Peppa had a simple shape, a circle. But Daddy Pig had a complex umbrella. He was very nervous. Oh no, this is too difficult. My hooves are too big for such delicate work. Daddy Pig broke his shape. His eyes also became empty, and like Emily, he wandered toward the exit. Daddy Pig. No. The third game was Tug of War. But instead of standing on the ground, teams stood on high platforms. The losers fell into a dark, bottomless pit. Pull with all your strength. The losers will disappear. Peppa's team was weaker. They began to lose. The platform beneath their feet cracked. I don't want to fall. I'm scared. At the last moment, Kylie Kangaroo, thanks to her strong legs, made a powerful pull, and their team won. The losing team screamed as they fell into darkness. They fell. The fourth game was marbles. Each player received 10 marbles. They had to take all marbles from their partner without using violence. Deceive, outsmart, but cause no harm. The loser is eliminated. Peppa played against her best friend, Susie Sheep. They didn't want to play against each other. Peppa, I don't want to play. Let's just give away the marbles. No, Susie, we must think of something. Peppa came up with a plan. She suggested playing rock, paper, scissors for all the marbles. Susie agreed. Peppa won. I lost. Goodbye, Peppa. Susie, no, come back. The final game was the glass bridge. 2 parallel bridges made of glass panels. Some panels were tempered glass, others were regular. They had to guess which panel to jump on. One wrong step and you will shatter. Only Peppa and George remained. They had to cross the bridge. George was very afraid. Peppa, I'm scared. I don't want to. Hold on to me, George. We'll do this together. Peppa, using her intuition, led George across the correct panels. They almost reached the end, but the last panel was a trap. The host had lied. Both panels were fragile. Suddenly, the entire world around them began to melt. The terrifying playground, the doll, the voice, everything disappeared. Peppa and George found themselves back in the park, on their normal playground. What was that? Was it just a dream? Next, in the beautiful and carefree Peppa Town, where every day was filled with joy and laughter, a morning dawned, no different from any other. Peppa and George, as always, were enjoying their favorite games, unaware that this day would bring something completely new and inexplicable. But as the sun rose higher and the shadows lengthened, a strange feeling began to hang in the air. A slight chill ran down the spines of Peppa Town residents, though the weather remained warm and pleasant. Suddenly, in the midst of their carefree play, Peppa and George heard something, a barely audible whisper that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was like a gentle breeze, but at the same time, it carried something unsettling. The whisper grew louder, turning into an unintelligible murmur. It seemed to call them, beckoning them deeper into the forest, where the shadows were thicker and light penetrated with difficulty. The children felt an inexplicable pull towards this strange sound. And then, from behind the trees, it appeared, a tall, thin figure whose limbs seemed unnaturally long. No face was visible, only a black void that seemed to absorb all the light around it. Peppa and George froze, their hearts pounding. The figure slowly, almost without moving, extended one of its long, bony arms towards Peppa. It seemed to want to touch her, but not with the intention of harming, but rather with some strange, incomprehensible curiosity. Peppa's house in the background now looked completely different, as if it too had sensed the presence of this shadow. Fear gripped them, but the instinct of self-preservation made them slowly retreat. The figure did not pursue them, but its invisible gaze seemed to penetrate the very depths of their souls, making them feel vulnerable and defenseless. Around the figure, the earth began to darken, as if absorbing all life. The grass withered, the flowers crumbled, leaving behind only lifeless emptiness. It was a sight that would forever be etched in their memory. As suddenly as it appeared, the figure began to dissolve into the air, leaving behind only a light mist and a creepy, distorted laugh that seemed to come from nowhere. Peppa and George felt relieved, but their hearts were still beating wildly. They rushed home without looking back.